Welcome to Lead. I'm Pastor Tony with Elevation Church, talking about team. I've been pulling from a book by John Maxwell, Indisputable Laws of Teamwork, and I'll talk about the law of the big picture today. It's the idea that the goal is more important than the role. We see it in the Bible. Abraham's a big picture guy. God gives him this vision that he doesn't have a child, but yet he's going to have descendants that outnumber the stars in the sky and outnumber the sand. And Moses, big picture guy, go and tell maybe the greatest world leader of the day that you're going to turn all of your slaves, you're going to set them free, and just go tell them that I sent you. And Moses, big picture guy. Can you imagine how he discusses that with the Israelites? Like, okay, I'm going to talk to Pharaoh and tell him what's going on, and then he's going to let us go. I'm just saying that's big picture, and sometimes big picture is hard to grasp for us when we hear about a big vision idea. Joshua, we're going to march around the walls. I've received this word from the Lord, and we're going to do it 7 times, and on the 7th day, 7 times, and 7 days, and 7th day, 7 times, and don't say anything. So you got Joshua, big picture. David gets so just frustrated when he goes down to see the Israelite army, and Goliath is making a charge, and David says it like this: is there not a cause? Isn't there a bigger picture at work here than just us standing here in fear? I love what John Maxwell says. He says, if you think you are the entire picture, you will never see the big picture. I heard a story one time about a traveler who met some men that were cutting stones. He went to the first guy that was cutting stones, and he began to ask him, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm cutting stones. I'm cutting the rock, and didn't get much of an idea what was really happening. He just understood that the guy's cutting stones. The second one, he asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm cutting a stone so that it'll be square and fit properly in the wall. Well, now he has a little more insight. He knows there's a wall. He went to the third stone cutter, and the third stone cutter said, I'm cutting a stone so that we can build the cathedral. Well, now you got the picture. And the third one in the story seemed to be happier. Why was he happier? Well, maybe because he understood and knew that there's something greater than just the small impact I'm making by cutting a stone. All the stone cutters were doing the same thing, but each gave a different answer. Each knew that their role, that their job was needed to be done, but it was a third stone cutter that had a different attitude. I think that knowing just how and what to do is good, but knowing why is so much better. When it comes to a team, what's the why behind what we're doing? Viewing the whole and not just the parts, not just the small thing it seems like I'm doing now, but what's the big picture, right? Seeing a vision, it helps us to have a sense of bigger picture, having the ability to see significance that we're working on beyond just the obvious, understanding that legacy is going to live on, whether it's in the stone of a cathedral or the impact that we make on other people. Sir Christopher Wren tells that same story, and he says about the third stone cutter that he said this. He answered and said that I'm helping Sir Christopher Wren build a magnificent cathedral to the glory of God. Well, man, that guy had the big picture. And he attached it to the person that had provided vision for him. And so on a team, it's important that we understand vision, that we cast vision, big picture, and that we help people understand that, serving on a team, whether it's on a guest experiences team where people are coming and being introduced to an event or to a worship experience, that they understand their role in the team is significant because they're going to impact somebody's life. And big picture sometimes can go to an extreme, and we hear it in phrases like, man, that guy's got his head in the clouds, just dreaming. Or they're trying to sell some pie in the sky, or they've just got a 40,000-foot view. And sometimes that can be a little out there. On the other hand, We can go the other way with a lot of detail orientation, and often we'll hear it described as, man, they're down in the weeds, or they got their head down, or, they're highly organized, those kind of things that aren't always bad traits, but they can seem to be vision limiters. I love what Magic Johnson said. He said, everybody on the championship team doesn't get publicity, but everyone can say he or she's on a championship team. And I think that's the importance that we understand big picture, because if we don't, we're just doing stuff. When it comes to a team, I think all of us have to do this. We have to, first of all, learn to share. Learn to share. That I don't hold it all just to me, or you don't hold it all just with you. And learning to share sometimes means learning to delegate. There's always going to be limited time, limited resources, and limited energy. And so learning to share, and I think that's the best way to look at it. As I lead, when I offer an opportunity for someone to do something, it's not because that I couldn't do it. Maybe even I could do it better. It's because I know that I want to share. I think I like the word share better than delegate. I want to share in the incredible journey to see the big picture happen. The other thing I think on teams we have to do is we have to learn to look at the big picture, get our focus on that, help others. Sometimes you got to look up from the day-to-day stuff, or for the week-to-week stuff, for the things that you maybe serve and do on the weekend, or wherever it is that you're serving, or that you have people serving on your team, and help them to get a focus on the big picture. Sometimes step back and say, maybe it's a few minutes before you're going to serve, and you're going to serve, maybe it's a children's ministry, and that morning before you serve, you're going to just step back with a few of the leaders and say, hey, think about today. Today we're going to teach lessons, and we're going to sing songs, and we're going to play games. But there are 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds here that when they're 30 and 40 years old and they have a family, the impact of this moment is going to impact their future. And looking at the big picture. The big picture is about transform lives, helping people take their next steps. And lastly, the other idea about helping your team is, we all have to do this, learn to give up personal agendas. Learn to give up personal, we all have them. We all have things we want to do. I love it when I watch a good game and maybe there's a guy that's approaching a record, a individual record in his maybe football or basketball career or baseball. And I love it when I see someone, they're just playing the game for the team. They don't have to get that today. If they do, they do, but it's not about their personal agenda, right? They want to help see the team accomplish what the team can do together. And I think it's illustrated really well. U.S. Women's soccer team several years ago went on to win the Olympic gold and the World Cup in just a few brief years. And Maya Hamm was on that team. And her book, Go for the Goal, she writes this: soccer is not an individual sport. I don't score all the goals. And the ones I do score are usually the product of team effort. I don't keep the ball out of the back of the net on the other end of the field. I don't plan our game tactics. I don't wash our training gear. And she goes on to say, okay, sometimes I do. I don't make our airline reservations. I am a member of a team, and I rely on the team. I defer to it and sacrifice for it, because the team, not the individual, is the ultimate champion. You see, for all of us, it's understanding we're a part of a team, and if we're not going to accomplish much. Right? One that doesn't produce significance, that we're on a team together, and we got to keep the big picture in front of us. That means learning to share in the responsibilities, in the victories, in the struggles, learning to continuing to look at the big picture, and learning to give up personal agendas. And the great thing that happens then is that when I do that, people want to serve on the team. They want to serve more quickly because they understand that there's something in front of us. And I just would encourage everyone that's viewing this, that you would just take some time and look at your role on the team. Is it about the big picture? How can you change your role and your effort on the team to be about the big picture? And who can you help on the team so that we can accomplish big picture goals and dreams, and not just get lost in the minutia of small items that we do from day to day.